Hello guys! Alright, I am trying another recipe for the first time, and I had run out of some vegan butter, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try seeing if there are recipes for vegan butter. I think I'd heard of some already, and Miyoko Schinner has a great recipe, so I'm going to try her recipe right now. And for this recipe you need unsweetened soy milk. You can use other milks, but apparently the soy is the best. It replicates butter the best, I guess, the thickness, etc. Unrefined coconut oil. Now I'm going to tell you, I just bought this cheaper version of unrefined coconut oil. I've bought a cheaper version in the past. My daughter doesn't like regular coconut oil for cooking, but sorry, did I say unrefined? Refined. When you buy refined coconut oil, the taste of coconut is gone. And you want something like that for this butter because you don't want to taste the coconut in the butter. Unless you love the taste of coconut and you want your butter to taste like that, and that's fine too. It says here it's made from non-GE crops. This was only, I think, $3.99 at Walmart. At the Bulk Barn, they had an organic refined coconut oil for $10. But to try this recipe, I didn't really feel like forking out $10, so I went with the cheaper version. And if I love it, then I will be buying the other one, and I'll use that in the future. Lecithin granules. Now you can use liquid lecithin. I don't have that, couldn't find that. But again, at the Bulk Barn, they had lecithin granules, and I wasn't certain on the conversion. I did see someone say you should use 2 to 4 times as much granules to liquid. Someone else said they used sort of just the exact same amount. But I've now found Miyoko actually talking about it, and she said you should use like 4 to 6 tablespoons as opposed to 2 teaspoons of liquid. I don't think I quite have enough, but other people have made this recipe apparently with less, or variations of this recipe, so I will use what I have. You also need some apple cider vinegar to help it curdle. You need some canola oil, and I will explain that part when I get to it. So what I'm going to first do, guys, is open up my soy milk, and of course I have my Blendtec. I think, you know, I found a couple recipes, and people are quite ingenious, and I love it. So one of the recipes, one author curdles her soy milk first, and I'm going to do that, even though according to Miyoko, you can just put everything in the blender and, you know, let it go. Okay, so I've got to put, I think, half a cup of soy milk, which would be 4 ounces. So just about there. Half a cup of soy milk to 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and this is my organic apple cider vinegar. You know, you can get the cheap kinds, but I'm not going to chintz on the apple cider vinegar. And I'm just going to let that curdle. I'm going to see how it curdles, guys. Now, the other author said they let theirs curdle for 10 minutes, so I'll do that. And in the meantime, actually, let me open up this coconut oil. I've never bought this brand before. I always buy the organic, unrefined, unprocessed coconut oil, with the exception of once when I bought the refined one for my daughter. But you obviously do not want to get the liquid coconut oil. Okay, I'll tell you that. You might see that in the stores. But the reason that the liquid coconut oil is not appealing is you need the coconut oil turning solid at room temperature to help this butter form and stay in its shape. The liquid coconut oil will be a disaster for this, guy. So in case you're curious about that, I'm just going to shake that around a little bit, and we'll see if it matters. Okay, actually I can see it. Oh yes, it's curdling and it's getting thicker. Now, Miyoko Schinner has a new book. Oh, I'm going to get the title, guys, because I'm going to support her. It sounds like there's a lot of amazing recipes. I want to try her mozzarella cheese. I just haven't had the guts. So this is like, you know, I made my vegan mayo the other day. It was so easy. So I've got this curdling. Can you see that? You can maybe see it at the side. Anyway, it's definitely curdling. And I'm going to melt my coconut oil. And I'm going to get started. Okay, this is the new Miyoko Schinner book, The Homemade Vegan Pantry, and apparently she goes through all kinds of fabulous recipes, you know, making your own cheeses, making your own mayos, your own mustards, obviously butter, stuff that, you know, instead of running out to the store, you can just make it in-house. And it's definitely a book I'm going to pick up, so I suggest you guys do as well. And let me get back to making the recipe. Okay, so I hope I'm not lost. Okay, so also for this basically, let me just show you guys. It's hard to see, but this has perfectly curdled. You can see that. And I'm going to tell you, I tried using my macadamia nut milk, and it didn't curdle. So you do need to use a milk that will curdle well, and soy just seems to be really great. But you can try other milks. I heard someone say hemp was pretty good. The argument one site made, where they had their own vegan butter recipe that calls for xanthan gum as well, a little more complicated, that it seems that the protein amount in the non-dairy milk helps it to curdle better and replicate dairy milk better. So I'm going to put, the recipe calls for half a teaspoon of salt, but that's to taste, and I have a salty tooth, guys, so I'm going to put a tablespoon, or teaspoon, not tablespoon, a teaspoon. Okay, so there's my teaspoon of salt. If you don't want any salt, you don't have to add any at all. You know, you can make this as you need it. Okay, so a teaspoon of salt in there for me. Now it calls for 1.5 cups of melted coconut oil. I just tried to melt this in, I put this jar in some hot water in a pan. So I hope I have enough. If I don't, I might have, this might be the entire jar. Okay, I've still got more in here. Oops, that has to melt out. Okay, so I've got to melt a little bit more, guys. So you know what? I'm going to melt that and I'll be back. Okay, so now I've melted and I'm putting in, that's 1 cup right here, guys. And here's the half. So 1.5 cups of coconut oil, and this container was 414 milliliters, which is basically just about half a liter, and I still have some left, but it used probably a good 3/4 of that container. Okay, now I'm going to put the lecithin. I can hardly say that word. Why is it a tongue twister for me? And I'm going to make sure that I have everything in here. Now, I'll see how many tablespoons. And you also have to put canola oil. So here's, someone had said they use 1.5 tablespoons. That's 1. I'm going to put maybe 2.5 or 3. That's 2. I guess I'll follow what Miyoko said. I'll go for 3 tablespoons. I mean, she said maybe 4 to 6 or 5 to 6. I could probably add 1 more, but oh, you know what? I'll do it. I've got it. No, I'm not going to do it. Because someone else made it with less. So now what you need is she said quarter. The only question I have is, I want mine to be a little more softer and spreadable. So I wonder if having less of the soy lecithin will make it that way. Therefore, I don't have to add as much canola oil. Basically, it calls for a 1/4 cup of canola oil, but she said if you want it to be a little more of a spreadable butter, you should add about 1/3 of a cup. And I would like it to be more of a spreadable butter. So I've got 1/3 of a cup here, and that's my only question with regards to how much of this lecithin should I add. So I'm gonna go for, this is like literally just shy of 1/3 of a cup. So more than 1/4 cup, shy of 1/3 of a cup. There's a few granules in here. And my question is, honestly, do I add that 1/4? I did see someone else say sort of 4 times. However, this is teaspoons and this is tablespoons. So I think I'm going to leave it. I'll see how it goes, and I hope it turns out well. And I think, guys, that is it. Let me just verify the recipe I have here. So I've got the salt, the soy milk, the apple cider vinegar, the lecithin, the coconut oil, the canola oil. Okay, sorry about that delay, but yes, that is all you need for this recipe. I'm just putting my lid on, let me just... And it said to blend for about a minute. So here we go. I'm just going to put it on manual and maybe at speed 2. Okay Okay guys, so that was it. I did it for about a minute. The blend tech naturally blends for 50 seconds on manual. Unless you're making soups and stuff, it will go longer. So I just blended for 50 seconds, then I did 10 more seconds. It's a powerful blender, so I'm sure 50 seconds is good. But because I'm using the granules, not the liquid, I just blended a little longer to make sure it was all cohesively blended. And look at the color. I mean, that's butter. It's a butter color. And it smells like butter. The only thing I didn't do was test the, I'll do that another time. I was just really curious as to what the soy milk with the vinegar tasted like, curdled, to see if, because she said it gives it that cultured taste. And I would have liked to taste that, but I'll put a little bit in a cup and do that later. Okay, so now all you need are containers to put this in. Put it in the fridge, I guess, for a few hours. If you're running, if you want it quicker, you can put it in the freezer. So I've just got a few various containers. You can get the silicone molds that look like butter shapes if you are so inclined. I mean, look at that rich, beautiful, creamy butter color. Maybe I'll put one in the freezer because I want to try this sooner rather than later. There we go. So these are, and the reason I'm putting them into smaller containers is because I would like to freeze some of this so that I don't use it all right now. I mean, look, this is so far a lot of butter, and I'll tell you that lecithin, I'll tell you how much it cost me. That little bit, I mean, you can get a jar, but that little bit just cost me $1. Okay, so that was $1. The coconut oil was $4. And I had the other ingredients on hand. So I guess maybe I'll put a bit more in here. I don't know if I should use one more small container. But guys, that's all you have to do. Let me get you a little bit closer so you can see that better, hopefully. I mean, look at the color. This looks just like butter. I'm going to get some into the fridge. Maybe I'll put one in the freezer and come back quicker because I want to try it. That's how I am. Once I start doing something, I'm anxious to try. So I'll get this all done and I'll be back soon. Alright guys, here is one of my containers of the vegan butter. Now I put this one in the freezer. It's not too deep. I put it in the freezer for maybe 10 minutes. Took it out and noticed that the top layer was already solid. I thought it was all solid. So I started to dig in there and found the bottom was a little bit still liquidy. It was getting solid, but not fully solid. And so I put it in the fridge for, it's probably been like 40 minutes in the fridge. And I'm making toast. I can't wait. I want to try this vegan butter. That little bit I did taste. Okay, let's see how. Okay, so it feels a bit hard. Okay, so maybe I could have added more canola oil or perhaps less lecithin. I don't know. You just heard my toast pop. Okay, so I'm just going to taste a little bit on my finger. And you want to know something? This even seems to taste more like butter. She's so right about the cultured butter flavor. More so than like earth balance. It's kind of shocking. It almost has that kind of, it must be the apple cider vinegar that gives it that kind of milky kind of, maybe it's the lecithin, I don't know. But anyway guys, here we go. So, scooping out. So out of the fridge, that's what it's like. And you can use this butter, apparently for baking, anything you would use butter for, guys. And wow, look at that. I mean, that looks like any butter I've ever spread on bread before. And it's time for a bite. And I have to laugh in that I'm constantly amazed by the array of innovative, amazing ideas out there. I never knew I could make butter at home. This is butter, guys. This is vegan butter that almost tastes, seems to taste more buttery than the other commercial butters. And maybe it's the palm oil, because I really, when I've tasted palm oil before, I don't like palm oil on its own. And of course, you can make this without palm oil. You know what you've put in it. It's palm oil free, which is good. But I do want to point out that companies like Earth Balance and I know some are against Earth Balance before using palm oil, but they are a conscious company, and they make sure to source their palm oil where orangutan habitats are not threatened. It's all the big companies that are making, you know, other things that to avoid trans fats that are now switching to palm oil. All the big companies that are destroying the orangutan habitat. So that's really sad. But guys, this is butter. I'm just making butter from now on. You can make it at home. And it tastes delicious. My mom's not here right now. She moved in with me, so I haven't made so many videos lately. But she's going to be amazed. She was amazed at the mayonnaise. I was amazed at the mayonnaise. I think I'm more amazed at this. I've got butter in my house that I made. Guys, this is awesome. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, hit me up. So far, this worked for me. I don't know if next time I would try less lecithin. I did see someone who said they tried 1.5 tablespoons, but according to Miyoko, I should have used even more. So I don't know. But this worked as it is, guys. And I put these into smaller containers because apparently this will go bad faster. So I want to be able to, if I leave this out for, you know, a few days or whatever it is, not have to worry that this might spoil and I've spoiled the whole batch. Or I'll put it in the fridge and take it out as necessary. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to add a little bit of jam to this and enjoy my vegan butter, homemade. Thanks for watching.